welcome to our first episode of United by Yah. I'm Yeshaya Yasharala,
I'm Michaela Yasharala.
and this is a podcast specifically for the nation of Israel. We thought to come up with this podcast for mostly couples that's in this walk and this truth. So we hope to reach everybody that want to take a listen and tune in. So today's topic is what?
Today we're going to talk about forgiveness.
All right, forgiveness. So we're going to talk about forgiveness. Now I got to get my forgiveness scripts out. All right, I got forgiveness scripts. Hold on. So what about forgiveness? Why is that on your mind today?
Well, now that we just had a son, and
Dang, you just dropping info like that already on the first episode? Dang, baby.
I'm not really close to my family as I used to be, and I used to be very family oriented, and my mom and I aren't as close as I want to be for things that she's done or has not done when I was a child. And I want her to be around to be a good grandmother, so I'm finding it in my heart to have forgiveness for myself, but also for her, even if she's not the one to initiate that forgiveness and to mend our relationships. And also just, how the Bible says to honor your father and your mother as well, and kind of come from a place of understanding about her upbringing and why she couldn't do certain things when I was a child, or why she did certain things when I was a child. And as a mother now, I just want to mend that relationship. And I've been having discussions with my sister and with my aunt about mending my relationship with my mother and how to go about it. So that's just been really heavy on my heart for the past couple of weeks.
So knowing what you know now, how do you feel about how your mother pretty much raised you now, knowing the curses and everything, knowing everything that pretty much all the curses that's on our nation? So how do you feel knowing that? Is your view on how she raised y'all different now, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different. I've always been a person who really wanted to come from an understanding place about why people do the things that they do. I don't just go off of emotion. So I've always been very mentally strong and, trying to see it from a different person's perspective and not be super judgmental about the way that they acted or didn't act in the situation. But now that I do know about the curses and things like that, it's making me more aware of why my mother and I are estranged and not really have a mother-daughter relationship.
Kind of about to get that script, babe. I'm about to get that script. You know what you gotta do, right? Get that head covered. Cover that head. You ain't got no head cover in here? You got a scarf somewhere? No. Alright, you gotta wait,
Give me
babe.
a do-rag. Why you throw it over there?
My do-rag. What?
You better cut this out.
Cut what out?
This.
I ain't cutting this out.
Man,
Alright, so you said, I got the script right here. Deuteronomy 28. And where we at? Here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse. Are we waiting for you? I'm waiting to get your head covered.
I ain't covered.
All right, I'm just making sure, babe. All right. It's on up in here. All right. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and toward her young one. Sorry, verse 57. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet. That's pretty much our Israelite woman in a nutshell. I actually seen a video today. I forgot to show you. This video is crazy. I might implement it in the video. This lady was in the nail salon. I don't know if it was recent or before this whole COVID situation, but it was a bunch of Chinese nail salons open. So this lady, she basically something happened between her and the Chinese people, right? And I guess she didn't wasn't satisfied with the service or whatever. So she had her young daughter there and her young son. So the son is like, I think the son is like what, maybe 12, 13. So she cursing and yelling, and she like, "Oh, I ain't paying for nothing." So the Chinese people cursing at her back.
Fuck you! Fuck you too, bitch! Kiss my ass, bitch, motherfucker!
Right? So they, you know how Chinese people do. They want to lock your ass in the store. Like if you're not gonna pay, they gonna lock you up in there. So she trying to leave. They trying to lock her in there. So, so mind you, the little boy, her son was like, Mom, chill out. Of course, the boy is level headed. So she yelling, being all ratchet and stuff like that. So when you watch the video, you can hear he's like, Mom, chill. Mom, just chill. Let's just get out of here. Nope. Eve want to keep yelling. Being all ratchet and yelling like somebody scared of her. So she started making her way towards the door, and they locked the door. So now the little boy is like getting all riled up. So little boy is like ready to fight the Chinese people. So this little boy, why he say he's like 12, 13. Looked like in the video, I'm not sure. But he's getting all riled up, and he started cursing. He's like back the up. He's like, back up. I'll beat your mother. Like in front of his mom. His mom ain't saying nothing. He like ready to hit the Chinese people. So it's like that just goes to show you like the toxicity, right? I said that right. The toxicity of like, that toxic, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it. It's just a toxic energy of, that cycle of that, loudmouth Eve that most of us been raised by. I can't really say most of us. I would like to say most of us. Some of us had, the mother and the father in the house. Some of us had level-headed mothers, with abusive fathers, and some of us had abusive mothers with level-headed fathers. So, but yeah, that whole situation, it was just crazy. And let me finish the script out. Sorry. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the sage and straightness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. We all distressed, even our mothers, and we've been distressed for years, like since we've been freed from slavery. Not, I mean,
Or
we
so-called
technically
free.
so-called, yeah, right, you're right. So since we've been had that sense of freedom, I would say we had a sense of freedom up until now. Because again, our stuff was destroyed. Like Black Wall Street, they burnt that down. Everything we tried to do and build up, they broke it down. So like, they destroyed the home structure, the family structure, the Jim Crow, the buck breaking. So there's a lot of things that go into, a bad relationship, or a mother not, knowing how to raise her kids, like, like your situation. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, piggyback into the original question. Yeah, like now that I know about the curses, I already knew, just even when I wasn't in the truth, why black women specifically act the way that they do. Removing a man from the home, or feminism, or the whole strong black woman idea, and what they look like and how that's portrayed and kind of put on the children. And so the do as I say, not as I do type of thing is kind of how I was raised. So, and it's things that my mom would do or that would say, and she wasn't really emotionally aware of really how to be a mother. That's the first thing, and that's something that me and my aunt talked about. And me being a mother now, I always say, well, I can never be like my mom, right? And it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out and understand why she was the way that she was and try to mend that relationship with her. So it all goes back to the beginning with the curses and then other things that have happened to us because of that, and the emotional trauma or the physical trauma or the mental trauma that stems from that, whether it be, us being in captivity or, things that were pushed on us as being oppressed, and the whole, I'm a mother and a father. Like my mom would say that all the time, but there's no such thing. You can't be a mother and a father. So, but we'll talk about that in another podcast segment about, feminism and a strong black woman and kind of how that's destroyed a lot of families, because we always try to put it on a black man, which, is equal parts in that, but
Yeah, you're right.
but yeah, and now what I'm trying to do is, it's hard for me because I had to unlearn that whole strong black woman thing because I was raised by a single mom, and
I know.
I had to unlearn that, and I'm still unlearning, and that's hard because for 20 something plus years, that's all I've known. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in a process of forgiveness. Forgiveness comes in stages. It's not something that's going to happen overnight because our relationship wasn't destroyed overnight. It was gradual. So it took years to destroy. It's going to take years to build it back up. So right now we're just trying to build a foundation. And the first step is just acknowledging things that were done wrong, but it's really up to my mom to acknowledge those things. And so that's something that my aunt and I were talking about the other day, is that acknowledgement of wrongdoing and owning up to it. Even it's a hard pill to swallow, but that acknowledgement is important to mend our relationship. So
Yeah.
I think we have to start there and rebuild our foundation. And I was basically saying, how I'm a woman now, so it's different. Like I'm not a child. Like I'm a woman. I'm married and I have a child and a family. So our relationship is going to start over differently. I'm not a child anymore. So that's also something that she said is probably going to be hard for my mom, because my aunt, she's the oldest and I'm the oldest. So on a lot of things we can relate, and we kind of are both level-headed and we can talk things out. So my mom is more emotionally driven. So a lot of times we argue. And especially when I was younger, of course not now, but when I was younger, we would argue a lot and clash a lot. But that was something that had stemmed from her being a child, that she's an emotional reactor and I'm not. So we always deferred on that.
Yeah. I mean, so like when you was growing up, like how did you feel like when your mother did certain things, like, or didn't do certain things? Like how did you have friends that had good mothers? And like when you like going on, like I don't know, like if you went over like sleepovers and stuff like that, if you were able to do that, or like just being around people in high school, like seeing their mother and father come to school, like did you feel a certain type of way when you see that type of stuff?
Yeah, it wanted me to have a better relationship with my mother. That's actually where it started, and really in high school, and it was getting ready for like proms and graduation and things like that. Like, of course, you want your mother to be involved, but my mom was very like, she needed kind of like a man. Like she always just wanted to be with somebody, so she wasn't really home. Like basically, my grandparents and my aunt raised us. My mom, she would be going for weekends at a time or days at a time, and then, she'll come back and just checking in on us. We had to make our own dinner. We had to do our homework by ourselves. We had to, basically fend for ourselves. So, when our grandparents are older, they already raised their kids. They really should be raising their grandchildren. Right. But, because my grandmother was very loving, because there's a lot of families, like I said, we could have had a lot worse, but it could have been definitely better. Yeah. But thank God for grandparents and aunts and everybody else who steps in when, that parent. My mom was young when she had me. Mom got pregnant with me when she was 17, had me on her 18th birthday. So she was still a child herself. So she didn't know how to be a mother. And then, me and my grandma have conversations as well. And she kind of says, like, I didn't know how to be a mother either. So it's kind of like that cycle. Like, no one's teaching anyone how to be a mother or even a parent, because they don't know how. because they didn't have their mother, or they didn't have their father, so they don't really
Right,
know,
right, right.
you know, what to do. But I also feel like as an adult, you do have to take some responsibility. Like, you should know what to do, what not to do. But once again, my mom had me when she was a child, like 18. Now that I'm older, you're not really an adult like how you think you are.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, I remember, not to cut you off, I remember thinking that too. Like, I thought I was a shit when I was like 14, 15. I thought nobody could tell me nothing, yeah. I thought I knew everything.
yeah,
Like, but see now knowing like, but see, I can't say that, but it's like the Most High is with us from birth. Like, if we in this walk, you know, He was with us our whole life. You know, up to this point, like every little thing that we went through, you know, whether being surviving, you know, being raised, you know, by certain parents, you know, or just everyday life, all up until this point, you know, we can say that we had that spiritual inclination, no,
yeah,
to like, you know, discern life and make decisions and like reason
right,
up until this point. So, you know, I ain't gonna say I knew everything, but you know, again, I compared and contrast a lot with what my mom did to compared to like what she said.
yeah, for sure.
You know, what she told me to do, but compared to, you know, what she would do.
Right. So the whole thing, like I said, the whole black
Do
saying,
as you.
do as I say, not as I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very contradictory. Especially as a child, it's like, what? Like, huh? Like, you're telling me not to do something that you're doing. And
Yeah.
how they always say, oh, well, lead by example. That's even contradictory to the saying, do as I say, not as I do. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
is you gonna lead, are you gonna lead by example, or are you gonna, you know, be a parent? But once again, that whole cycle, like, you don't really know. And so I think that's where that understanding comes from, and understanding of the curses from the Bible, but it's understanding as an adult and as a person. It's just certain things that you shouldn't do to just people in general, and it's a way that you should talk to people and support your children. You know, and it doesn't have to be peaches and cream. Like, parenthood isn't black and white. Like, there's a lot of gray area. But there's a lot of times people step into the white area or the black area, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you know, you should really know you shouldn't be doing that or saying that, but you still do it anyway. So,
Yeah.
but with my mom specifically, you know, I blame it really on her trying to be an adult at such a young age, and, you know, having sex and having a child when she wasn't ready. And then she had 2 more children after that, you know, and she still wasn't prepared. So
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of like you never really grow. And then it's like now you have kids and you're trying to live your life as a child. Like, you can't do both. So
I never understood that either.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it's an understanding of kind of like where we come from as well. And like you said, back to the curses, you know, they don't, I'm not going to say they don't know any better, but you think that you know, but you really don't. And, you know, you're looking for love from a man, because my mom didn't really have a good relationship with her father. So she was always looking for that love from another man. And now that I'm older, I understand that. But when I was younger and I was like yearning for that relationship with my mother, because I'm coming of age, you know, I'm in high school and I want to date and I want to do different things like that. And my mom more so told me what not to do than what to do.
Yeah.
So, which I guess is not too bad in itself, but, you know, it prepared me better in life if I knew what to do. That makes sense. So,
Yeah, but see, and then it's like, it's hard too at the same time, because see, growing up, I knew the Bible. I didn't know the Bible to this extent, but I knew the whole, what was I supposed to do as a child, you know, because it's always bashed into my head, like, honor thy mother and thy father, love your brother, your sister, blah, 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 stuff like that, you know. But I can't think of the script off the top of my head, but I think it says something like, yeah, like, honor thy mother and thy father, and you'll have
days
many
will be
years,
yours,
yeah,
yeah.
something like that. So I gotta find that script, but yeah. So it's like I knew that, so it was hard to react off of my reason. Like, how can I honor my mother and my father? Even now, it's like sometimes, you know, I'll get into my dad's situation soon, but prior to the episode, it's gonna take a whole nother episode for that. But like, how can I honor my mother, you know, when she's being a hypocrite? You know what I mean? You know, you just left the Kingdom Hall and you like now you cussing, you about to beat my ass over some dishes. I forgot to do the dishes. Like, I don't get that. Like, it didn't sit well with me. Like kids are very smart. Like, if it's one thing you do, never underestimate your kids, because even from a young age, like from birth, I would say from like what, 2 to like
once they start
teenage,
talking and they get
they're real smart.
They can decipher situations, and
very observant.
That's how they learn.
Yeah, and they watch, they see what you do, and then listen to what you say.
Right.
Like, it's not like because it's like our people are mainly like those type of mothers think like kids don't have reasoning skills as a young age. They think, oh, well, they just kids. They gonna listen to what the hell I tell them to do. They don't think like the kids are gonna have a reasoning. Like, well, my mom just told me to do this, but she's doing that, or we just left church and she's cussing. Oh well, good day. No. Well, I ain't get my butt whipped, so good day. No, like that stays in our head. Like, like how you one person somewhere, and as soon as we leave there, you're a whole different person. Like, and then we have to take for you to get all the way home. You could be in a car. As soon as that door shut,
in the parking lot.
Mother, didn't I tell you to sit your mother? Like, just like that. Like, it's crazy. Like, I always thought that was like a mental disorder. Like, that's the scariest type of woman to be around.
Yeah.
To be around those type of women. Yeah. That's like.
And a lot of black women are like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what a lot of us had to grow up around and be raised by, those type of women. Like I just said, like the lady in the nail salon. That's sad. Like, that little boy, he didn't want to be in that situation. He saw it pop. Like, the young boy's smart. He saw it popping off from the beginning.
But what I have to say about that, your son shouldn't even be in the nail salon with you. That's the first thing. We can go dive into that on another podcast. That's the first thing. The second thing is
especially now, yeah.
The second thing is a lot of women view their sons as their man. And we can get into that on another podcast too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what that was. Like, your son is 13, 14, you 30, maybe late 20, 40 years old. However old she was, I didn't see the video. But your son is not your man. He should not be protecting you. He is a child. And I can go into that on another podcast. We got a lot of stuff I can talk about. Your son is not... Like, I would never put our son in that situation ever, right? Because you should think first as a parent, like, okay, the service you receive is not... correct. That's why I said certain things as an adult, you should just have the knowledge to do and not do and how to maneuver. But a lot of times, once again, if we just go back to the way she was probably raised, to her, that was normal behavior, right? So now she's teaching her children that that's normal behavior. So if her daughter acts that way when she gets older, that's another continuation of the cycle that is normal behavior. And then the son, he's going to get with a woman like his mother and think that that's normal behavior when it's not. So... just normalizing that type of conversation, which I'm pretty sure is not an isolated incident. She's probably act like that on many of occasions. So he knew it was going to escalate to that point. So we all see those sides of our mothers, unfortunately, especially in public. So. Oh yeah, especially in public.
I see that all the time. But I see that all the time.
Yeah.
Especially the job that I do. Like, hey, I see that 24/7. It's way before this COVID stuff. Years of working at this job. All kinds of people getting on this bus, like people, women getting on, throwing their kids, beating their kids, cursing them out on the bus. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know if you've seen that video of the girl on the subway recently, but she had her daughter, and they was locking her up. I think she was an Ephraimite, I think. But she had her daughter in the subway. For some reason, the cops was like following her.
Yeah, the one in New York.
Yeah, so they was following her for some reason. I don't know the backstory to it. So like a situation like that, it's like our people have this like, they don't know how to reason with situation. They don't know how to reason what's more important right now. Me sticking my ground and being real in front of everybody, being the realest person, or endangering my kid's life. I know I got my kids. These cops, how these cops been reacting lately. I'm gonna decide to just keep it real and keep it 100. Ain't nobody gonna punk me. But you got your kids right here. Like, now you getting taken to jail by 17 white men, and you got your 4-year-old daughter or son standing there, Like, what do you expect them to do? Now they in the hands of a complete stranger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like, our people got to learn how to conduct themselves or like reason with situations.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to keep it real, be a real nigga or real B,
Mm-hmm.
and have your 2-year-old or 4-year-old daughter right there with you.
Right.
You know, just to show them that you ain't no punk or you ain't no pushover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have some reason sometimes. Make rational decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always wanna show people that, you know, we ain't nothing. I mean, again, that's we what we had to do over the years, but you know, not every situation. Don't
Right.
do it while you with your kids. Like that was just idiotic. Like I would never do that. If I'm out with somebody, if I'm out with by myself and I'm with my son, you think if somebody bump me walking on the sidewalk and they bump me, they intentionally bump me and call me a bitch ass nigga, and I look back, you think I'm gonna pull my pants up, like, what nigga? What'd you say? You think I'm gonna be like that? That's stupid. Like I got my 2-year-old son with me. Who gonna watch him while I'm throwing my hands? Who gonna watch him while I'm bashing his head in? Or if he wind up stabbing me in the neck, hitting main artery, now I'm bleeding out.
Or you wind up shooting you. Nobody
Yeah, or
fighting
shooting me.
anymore. Yeah.
Like, who gonna watch my son on the
Your son
sidewalk?
wind up getting shot or whatever the case may be, because people don't have no mercy nowadays. They don't care.
Or no aim, so you
Yeah.
can hit your son too.
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
that's
But-
why I don't
But
get about our people.
that is also normalized as well. That argumentative spirit with each other. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? And then people
Yeah.
want to do things just for show and to make themselves feel that they have power. Like, oh, you can't talk to me like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and every situation doesn't require a reaction. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we don't know the backstory to that New York situation, so we don't know. But we can do a little bit more research about that one. But you know, I see it every day, just from my neighborhood where I grew up at. Like, you know, I come from very humble beginnings, so
What that mean?
you see it a lot. Come from the hood, like, you know.
Okay.
you
Yeah, I'm
know.
not from that. I don't know what that means. You say humble beginners, I'm thinking Mr. Rogers type neighborhood.
No, that's not humble. So yeah, you come from the hood. It's kind of like that behavior is normalized. Like, that's normal to us, and unfortunately, that I'm gonna just go back to everything is like a cycle. You know, you see your grandma do it, and your mom do it, and your aunts do it, and then now you raising a daughter, and she's doing it too. But some of us are blessed to have rationale or people that we can look up to who don't exhibit those behaviors because we don't want to be like that. So that's kind of how, like, me and my sisters. My mom used to run the street. I used to do all types of stuff. Like, I'm not gonna expose her, but she did all that stuff she ain't
Hey,
supposed to do.
listen. I don't know if she ever gonna listen to this podcast, but hey, you can share everything with Israel right now. So we all here for you. Just if you want to say what you gotta say, get it off your chest, don't hold it in. It's a podcast for the people, so they need to know like what you went through, basically who we are again. So, and, you know, we have yet to introduce who we are. We still got to do that. So, you know, let them know what happened. What's going on? What happened? How was your life, Michaela?
I know it wasn't that bad. It's just that my mom, she was just absent a lot, and then like she'll come back home. Let's say for the month, let's say it's May currently. So my mom will see her maybe 5-6 times out the month. You know, and then she'll come in. Like I said, she don't really like check in on us, see how we're doing, from what I can remember. And a lot of times, my aunt will take us out places. We would do things together. We would travel a lot. But my mom always, you know, wanted to chase after a man. Like, that was her thing. And my aunt, we had a discussion as of recently, who was like, well, she wasn't really chasing a man. I'm like, well, what do you call it? Like, you're putting a man over your children. Like, you're out with a man who don't care that you have children at home, that you need to go home to feed, to clothe, to tuck in at night, to read stories to, you know. And my mom has all daughters, which I think was a curse in itself, right? So my aunt is a girly girl. She got all boys. And my mom was like a real tomboy. Like, she was in the street, like, fighting, doing all types of stuff. So, and she had all girls, 3 girls. So, I think that was always a curse to me because she didn't know how to be a woman, and I having girl children, she couldn't really teach us how to be women. You know, we had to kind of figure that out from our aunts or our grandmother or cousins or whatever case may be, who were better role models. But you know, my mom was always like the rebellious child, and so sometimes I see certain qualities in myself that I see in my mom. So I try to kind of like nip that in the bud, like when I would see it when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, because that would scare me. Like looking in the mirror, I'm a very self-reflective person, so it was like, oh no, like what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, you know, she'll be home 5-6 times. She would come home and she would cook her man a meal. Don't feed us.
Dang, that's crazy, yo.
Give a whole pot of food. Take it and give it to the guy she was dating or whatever.
Dang, your mom was like that?
Yeah, we would eat like cereal or like, you know, grilled cheese, and she in there making shrimp scampi or Cajun pasta. Like my mom, she knew how to cook. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, peanut butter and jellies, whatever.
That is crazy.
So oodles or noodles. And so it got to the point where she never really, I felt, wanted children. And she would, mom say, oh, I can give you up for adoption, or, you know, we get into an argument, you try to, you know, like you said, you're a child, your mom don't really want to hear what you have to say because you don't know anything, or you know, you're young. So, but it's like, I have feelings too. Like, why can't I voice my feelings, you know? And it's kind of like every time you said something, oh, you got a smart mouth, or you being rebellious, who you think you talking to? You know, and the belt was her favorite person, right? You can't talk anything out. It was always, oh, I'm gonna get the belt. You think you grown? You think, it's not that I think I'm grown. Like, I'm a human being. I have feelings, right? And whether that was taught to me how to positively or correctly express my feelings, I was never taught that. So the way that you say your feelings the same way I'm gonna come with my feelings, I wasn't taught nothing different as a child. Now that I'm older, it's a lot different, but you know, in those moments, it's kind of like, well, you ain't never home. Like, you know, people always use like, what's your curfew? I'm in high school. I ain't got no curfew. Like, my mom ain't home. I did whatever. Like, I was a whole different person when I was in high school. Like, I ain't had no curfew. I did what I wanted to do. Like, I was just wilding. Like, I didn't care.
He was,
you know,
wilding. Wilding. Anybody know what that means? Wilding.
Like, I was just doing whatever. Like, I got in an argument with one of my teachers in high school. I would never forget it. I was like, my own mom don't need to talk to me like that. I don't know what you talking to me like that for.
Oh, I knew so many girls like that. You that type of girl in high school? Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. I was like, my mom don't talk to me like, don't talk to me like that. Like, who you talking to?
Listen, we would have never been together. I promise you. I'm so glad I met you later on in life.
I've grown a lot, but I was like, who you talking like? What? Like, that's because I don't have any family structure. I always did what I wanted to do. I was the oldest, like, you know, I went to a really good school, and I just did what I wanted. Like nobody tell me nothing. I had a chip on my shoulder, and it was really from my lack of upbringing or like parenting. My dad was never around. Like, I don't know my dad. So, and then my mom was the only person. My grandpa and grandma was older. Like, what are they going to say? Like,
yeah,
you know, it's about so much they can say they older. So I definitely took advantage of that. And I would do whatever. Dating guys, doing whatever. Like, staying out late, not coming home till the next morning, doing whatever. Like,
what? You did that?
Yeah.
Yo, you tripped. Wait, where was your mom at the time, though?
My mom was never around.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, because sheesh. I can only dream of doing that.
She was never really around. And when she was, like, where you going? I'm like, I'll be back. Like, just like straight like that, and I walk out the house. I paid my own phone bill. I had my own job. I was in school. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. Like, I needed to come home to do my homework, which I did because I was still a straight A student. And I would just bounce. Like, all right, bye. Like, I'm leaving, whatever. You know, I wasn't drinking or, like, smoking drugs or, you know, having wild sex or nothing. I was just out doing whatever, like, hanging out, you know, not being in the house.
Dream of that. Let me go out the house and come back the next day. Yo, I wouldn't even come to hell. I'd be scared. I'd be trying to find a foster home for me. I'd be walking to somebody's house. I'd be scared as hell. I'm like, yo, can you be my mom? I'd be walking to my friend's house and asking his parents to be my parents.
Yeah.
I would not want to go to hell back home.
Yeah, I did whatever, like, because it was always back to, I used to tell my mom, and I feel like she I'm not saying she understood. I'm like, you can't tell me what to do when she was home. Like, you ain't even home yourself. So we get into arguments about that. I'm like, you ain't home. Like, what I gotta be home for? That's kind of how my mentality was. So, which was horrible.
Yeah. See,
but once again, I didn't have any correction. Like, there was nobody. Like, couldn't nobody tell me anything. Like, my aunt told me I thought I knew it all. And she like, you always thought you was grown, and we just let you do your thing. I'm well grown. I'm married with a child. I'm grown. Out the house. Been out the house since I was 17 on my own.
Yeah, okay.
Paying my own bills.
No,
let me stop.
Slow down. Yeah.
Let me
Don't
stop.
get all boisterous.
That strong, independent black woman spirit. But,
let's get that out of there. We don't need that at all no more. At all. I'm so tired of that. I'm so sick of seeing these women out here, yo. Like, I know they my sisters, but yo, it's old. It's played out, man. That strong black girl magic, like, that's a whole nother episode we gonna touch on for sure. Israel. That might be next week's podcast for sure, but I'm just tired of that, man. But yeah, that's crazy. Like, all that stuff you went through, that's part of the curses.
Had to do all my homework by myself. Still, like I said, I was still a straight student. Like, I went to college or whatever on a scholarship. Like, I always knew that college would be my way out, right, of the hood. Like, that's just like, that's a dream they sell you. So that's kind of like, what you think you have to do. But I always was about my academics. I always loved to learn. Like, that was always who I was. But by nature, I was just rebellious. I didn't care. I was just like my mother, which is crazy to say now that I'm thinking about it. But the same thing she was doing, I was doing too, right? So it was kind of like in that moment, I can't see that. But now that I'm thinking about it, that's what it was. Like, I was just like, don't whatever. Like, well, who are you to tell me what to do? And I said it to every adult. I used to cuss like a sailor. I used to do all types of stuff, dress how I wanted to. Because once again, I had my own job. I could basically do whatever. Like, the only thing I needed to be home for was go to sleep. And then I was the oldest, so I always felt like I had a lot of responsibility being a role model, which that wasn't really the best thing, what I was doing. So I had, once again, I'm self-reflective. So like, all right, like, I got to get myself together. So that's when I like started applying to college and things like that. And, that was kind of like my way out. And I've been on my own ever since. But
yeah, let me read this script real quick. Hold on. That's Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. It says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors." And women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. In a nutshell, that's again women ruling over us. That's pretty much the downfall. Yeah. Because our women, you can only see that's a myth in itself too. That a lot of our women love to uphold. Like, remember that picture I sent you of that girl's profile? Her description? Let me get that, yo. I'm gonna read this damn description, yo. This girl on Instagram, yo. Yo, all y'all women on Instagram, like, especially Eve, like, y'all just be tripping. Let me read this.
That goes back to our conversation we have next week about the strong black woman and how that's upheld and the destruction, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, of the family structure because of that. Yeah,
so look, she said, all about chasing with a money bag, right? So she chasing money. That's one strike right there. Then she go and says, this is all in her bio, Israel. Independent, beautiful, strong black woman raising 2 kings. How you gonna raise 2 kings? But you independent. How you independently gonna raise 2 kings when you're hey, you might be a queen. You're a queen yourself. Like, how you gonna do that? That don't make sense.
That goes back to, like I said, we're gonna keep saying it, but it's happening next week. Black women and women in general, especially single mothers, because there's people of other descents who think that they can be a mother and a father, which is false. You cannot be both. There's no such thing. If that was the case, how would it made a man and a woman?
Yeah, I feel sorry for her sons, raising 2 little kings. See, their mother gonna be ruling over them, and they gonna be, God forbid, they gonna be 2 mothers' boys, mama's boys. That's how you say it. And she gonna get ratchet one day out in public. and she might have them 2 boys with him. Lord willing, she wake up to this truth, and she'll put her sons in that danger, even getting older. You know, what's that movie? Baby Boy. That's a great situation right there. His mom. What was her mom name? His mom name?
I remember.
Dang, I forgot his mom. Dang, I know. Vang Rhames was a lion in that movie. Yo, he was my favorite actor until I seen that movie with him in a dress. Yo, you ever seen that movie? It was an older movie. He was like playing a main character, like a drag queen in a dress.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Vang Rhames. Yeah, if I can figure out the movie name, I'll just put it in the description. But yeah, like that situation right there, she gonna bring, Vang Rhames in the house, so she feeling all big and bad because that's her house. So she got her son living there, and like she gonna bring Vang Rhames in, and like he challenging your son. You got your son feeling like the alpha male in the house all his life. He feel like that's his house too.
Right.
Regardless of how old he was, you still his mom. So when another lion come up in that house, hence what happened in the movie. I mean, I know it's a movie, but that happens in real life.
Yeah, it does.
And then Vang Rhames beat up your son, and you gonna tell him to get out. You choosing a man that's not his father over your son. And I can attest to that.
Right.
Lord willing, I had to fight that nigga, but shit, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. We probably would have killed each other. Like, that's how I felt about that, man. But hey, we'll get into that podcast another week. I ain't gonna go there right now. But yeah, it's a crazy cycle. It's a crazy thing that we in right now. Lord willing, all of Israel can wake up out of this, or hopefully the Most High can lift some of these curses off of us, and we can come together as a people. But we at the end, so whatever the Most High says, it got to be done. He says 2/3, a third part of Israel got to be put to death. So somebody got to be those 2/3. Somebody got to be the 1/3. Some of us got to be that elect as well. So, but yeah, that was just a little bit about mostly Michaela, her life, how she grew up. So
That's a small snippet. But we really supposed to be talking about forgiveness, but
let's get a script. I actually had that. I was holding that actually about forgiveness too. Right here, 2 Corinthians. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this one out. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 10. I'm gonna start at 8. Wherefore I beseech you that ye would confirm your love toward him. Verse 9. For this end also did I write, that I might know the proof of you, whether ye be obedient in all things. To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything, to whom I forgave it. For your sakes forgive I, for I it in the person of Christ. So if you forgive that person, he's going to forgive them for what they did to you as well. So as well as forgive you. It's only going to benefit you by forgiving them for yourself.
right, because forgiveness is really for self. It's not for the other person. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Like, not even with my mother. Just when people like, they fall short. You have expectations of a person and they don't live up to the expectations, so you're disappointed. But I'm a person, I'm quick to forgive, but I need to be quicker. I'm not gonna say forget, but to kind of put that on a back burner and move forward. And I don't really hold grudges because I don't like feeling malice towards anybody, or like I hate a person because I don't hate anybody, or feel like I don't like somebody.
Right.
So, especially family, Yeah,
so.
But yeah, forgiveness is definitely for self. Is how you can move forward, whether you want to continue that relationship with that person or mend that relationship with that person. And, you also have to know, like, with me and how I've talked to you about it, I know my mother's traits, right? So, like I said, a person doesn't change overnight.
Right,
It's
right.
gradual. So I'm also giving her that time so she can see, A, B, C, D, this is what you did. And I wish it was different, but now that I'm older, it's kind of like the acknowledgement, the acceptance, and then the apology, right?
Right.
So it's like my mom should never really apologize for what she did and didn't do, like for the things she's done, because I don't think she wants to recognize it because she told me, well, I'm not that person anymore. I don't know why she still, she still says that, but it's like she never said it directly to me. It's like I'm the person that you hurt, but you're talking to my aunt about it as well. So,
Right,
but
right.
once again, my mom, she's an emotional person. Me and my aunt can talk because we're very level-headed. Like,
I mean,
we're
women are emotional in general. That's y'all characteristic. That's how y'all are mostly.
no, but my mom, she's an emotional reactor. Like, I don't react off of emotion. I'm very like, okay,
Yeah,
let me figure it out type of person. Not saying I'm not emotional at all, because I am, but the way that my mom is to an extremity. Like, it's
Yeah.
yelling, it's this, it's like I can be talking like this to my mom and she'll just be yelling, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you don't have to yell to get your point across. Like, we're two adults, let's sit down and have a
Yeah,
conversation.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to yell at me for me to understand. I'm not a yeller. Like, I've never been that way because my whole life she was a yeller. So I don't like that style of communication. That doesn't work for me. So
Yeah, my mom's a habitual cursor. Like, she would come up with some crazy curse words in a certain way where you're just like, God damn, I didn't know you could do that. And you just do
That's
what the hell she tell
horrible.
you to do. But
yeah, but
that's
but
that's
I'm
sad, man. We had to go through a lot of things like that. Most of us, and Lord willing, more of us, of Israel that's still out there that's have yet to wake up to this truth. If they going through that, if you listen to this podcast and you're not, fully awake to this truth and figuring out who you are, Lord willing you do, and you study, you got somebody to teach you, walk you through it, so you can understand why we going through everything we going through. So, anything else you wanted to say?
well, even with that knowledge, even if you are in the truth, you still have. I don't know how to say this. Okay, so I come from a very religious family, basically Christianity, non-denominational. So even if you do or you are in the truth, that doesn't mean that you're going to act a certain way, right? Because you have a lot of people who identify
course,
with certain things just because you're quote unquote not in the truth, or what I say, 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in the Bible. Like, you don't
Yeah.
really, you don't really understand, right? You can understand, okay, you can know and have the knowledge that there's curses, but it's like, what are you doing to understand, acknowledge, and then act upon, not necessarily find those curses? Because it's kind of like inevitable. Like, a curse is set upon you, in some way, shape, or form, you're going to act that way, but you have to try your hardest not to, right?
Yeah, but I just said that for the simple fact of people that can understand why their parents are acting that way, so they don't follow that road at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I said that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that so they're gonna change immediately. I'm
No,
saying that
no.
for the same people that went through what we went through, how we were
Mhm.
raised. I'm not saying that for them to change. Of course, for them to change, but to understand why their parents are acting that way, understand why, why we go through what we go through again. So, that's why I try to back it up with scripture.
Oh, yeah, of
with
course,
the
all the
curses.
time.
So
Everything
that's the only reason
can
I
be
said that.
basically back with scripture in the way that we are in the world as, black people, but
So-called.
so-called black people as
Yeah.
as Israelites. So
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we could go on all day about this topic, man. It's a lot of things us as Israelites growing up that we went through, being raised by our mothers and fathers. We didn't have the worst of life. I never been to jail, God forbid. The water Yahweh, but I've surely been close. Who knows where I would have been if I've gotten caught those days, stuff like that. So, I'm just glad, I never went to jail because, I wouldn't be here. I don't know. That's just a never ending cycle. But yeah, forgiveness is definitely an important topic, because you don't want to get to those gates and get asked, hold up, brother. You know, that angel put his hand on you and stop you at the gate. Oh, did you, yeah, we see it. Did you, you know, she did this, and this to you. You know, you still had held some of that malice in your heart. Did you fully forgive her? And you gonna think like, damn, did I really fully forgive? Or you just gonna be so scared, you just gonna say, yeah, you gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't getting through those gates. So forgiveness is definitely important. Forgiveness is like one of the most important things, because you could keep all these commandments, you know, keep the feast days, keep the high holy days, keep the Sabbath, wear your fringes, you know, pray, everything. But, you know, if you're not forgiving your brother, your sister, you know, or anybody who's, you know, transgressed against you, you know, that could cause you your life or your spot in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
It's forgiveness. Because what's that? Matthew 6:14. It says, forgive if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not forgiving of the people of your own nation, you know, how's the Most High gonna forgive you? You know, if you still holding that malice against your sister, your mother, or your father, how's he gonna forgive you?
Yeah.
You know, so again, you gotta, you know, I don't like saying you gotta, but you got to. This is your life. Like this is the kingdom at stake here. So, you know, either you want it or you don't. You gotta find it in yourself to mend that relationship, or just put that step forward. Like again, because you did that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta put that step forward. You know, reach out if you haven't been talking to your mother, or your father, or you know, anybody, your brother, your sister, anybody you used to be close with, friend, yeah, anybody you used to be close with, and y'all had a falling out, and you hate that person, or they stole from you. It could be something like that. That's hard to forgive too.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that steal from you too, especially from your own house.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I hate a thief.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I hate the most.
Yeah, a thief and a liar.
Yeah, thief and a liar. That's two things we hate the most. Like
Mm-hmm.
if somebody steal from you, especially out of your own house, like that is.
Yeah, but
man,
I think that once again goes back to those curses. If you know the curses, you should find it in yourself to forgive that person. And once again, forgiveness is not an overnight process. It's not like, okay, tomorrow I'm just forgive you, because depending on how deep that wound has cut you, or you know, you've just been patching that wound up. And then also forgiveness, you don't have to mend the relationship as a forgiveness, right? You can have that conversation and dead that relationship, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Like I've had friendships that I've had in college. I don't speak to those people anymore because of certain situations that happened in school, but we had a conversation about it. I told them I forgive them. There's no like malice or, you know, malicious feelings towards them, but we still can't be friends again, or we can't be close. But it's just having that forgiveness, and then both parties, you know that forgiveness is there, and then kind of moving on. And then some relationships you should mend, you know, and you don't have to talk like, you know, like nothing ever was wrong, but you still do have to practice that act of forgiveness. And however long it takes you to get there is however long it takes you to get there. But, you know, Yahweh knows your heart. So, you know, if he sees that, you know, you're working towards that forgiveness, no matter if it takes you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? Or it takes you 10 days or 10 hours or whatever, you know, he knows your heart and that you're working towards it. So, and it's not a perfect situation depending on what the situation needs to be forgiven, right? Because there's certain levels of situations that it takes a lot for you to forgive that person, or to come out of a situation with forgiveness. Like my situation isn't that deep, but it's also people who suffered abuse, whether that, you know, mental abuse or sexual abuse or stuff like that. Like I've never been in that situation. I can't sit here and tell that person, oh, you need to forgive them and mend that overnight, you know. But
yeah, that's a real hard thing to do too.
You have to, you know, like you said, for your salvation, you do have to kind of make those steps towards forgiveness. And whatever that looks like for you, that's something between you and Yahweh that you have to figure that out.
Yeah, like even, but you can breathe. You ain't gotta talk and hold your breath.
I was holding my breath. I had to burp.
All right. Yeah, like even like some of those things you mentioned, some of those things can be really difficult to forgive. Like situations like that we hear sometimes about, molestation, or some of the lives that some of our brothers and sisters had to live before coming in this truth. Like,
Right.
Maybe you see the dude, every day that killed your brother, or killed your sister, killed your son, killed your daughter.
Right.
Even maybe you'll see the person that killed your son or your daughter, and they in this truth with you years later, and you like really, Yawa? Like, yo, that's hard. Like, maybe
Yeah.
your uncle that some sisters might have got molested in this truth, years ago when they was younger, and they uncle wound up in this truth. So it's hard. Like, some people might be going through those challenges.
Right.
So you never know. Like, it's not just simple as forgiving your mother, your father. It could be like deep stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
That's what I said.
you took my son from me. You took my daughter from me. You took my innocence from me. But you in this walk with me. So it's like,
But that's where conversation.
again, like it's a lot of things that our brothers and sisters go through, live day to day, and you never know, because some situation could pop up like that. The person that shot your brother, your sister, could be an elder. Or one of the sisters in there, one of the sisters that been in for years. So it's a lot of things that some of our brothers and sisters have to go through, and forgiveness is like a heavy thing. That's a very, very, I don't have to go through that right now. I've never had to go through that. I can't even imagine going through that. Somebody taking my son from me, and then I'm looking them in the face years later. Did you ever see that? What was that? It was an interview where this dude, I don't know if he was Esau or Ephraimite. I can't really tell. But it was this white dude that killed his son or his daughter or something like that. And the black dude, so-called black dude, he was walking in the room and seeing his kid's murderer years later. And it was supposed to be some type of therapeutic session. So, Esau was just sitting there, ain't bust a tear, looking at him. I guess he tried to put the little sire face on and stuff like that. But the brother was walking in, like, broke down. Like, he was walking in crying. Like, and he lost his son or daughter years ago. So just looking that man in his face again, that spark up another, spark up fresh feelings again. Just seeing the person that took your son or your daughter from you.
Right. So,
forgiveness is hard, but it's a necessity. Because again, everything that you lose, anything you can gain, or anything that you lost in this life, you can receive tenfold from Yahweh. He's going to replace it. Let me get that scripture. But go ahead, speak to him. Let me find that scripture.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, at the end of forgiveness, doesn't have to be a new relationship or, a new friendship or anything like that. Like, it can just be deaded, but, it don't fake forgive either. Like, if you haven't forgave that person, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgive you, because like I said, Yahweh knows your heart. Like, don't think like, oh, let me just do it. And deep down inside, like, it took me years to forgive my mom. Like, this wasn't something that like, okay, I'm ready to forgive you now, let me just forgive you. Like, no, it took years of changed behavior. It took years of conversation, even little small conversation, even full blown out arguments that it made me want to fight my mom like she was a stranger in the street type of thing. Like, before coming into the truth, of course.
Yeah,
like,
I did that before.
So I've been there and I've been taken there. Thank God I've never done it. Because I had to just restrain myself. Once again, my mom is very emotional. Yeah, I want to get up in your face and talk to you like you trash, because that's the way her upbringing was. So once again, I'm dead in all of that. That cycle is dead to me. So, coming into the truth, once again, just understanding that and just how the mind works and how trauma works and things like that, I'm more open to doing the next steps of forgiveness between me and my mother, because it's gradual. It's not like, me and my mom could go get our nails done tomorrow type of relationship. It's like, oh, hey, how are you? Like, checking in. And that's where our relationship is at now. But that took years to get to, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it. This is Matthew 10, verse 37. It says, oh, wait a second. All right, King James. It says, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Mm-hmm. So, I brought that out because a lot of us worship our kids. So, you can see that throughout holidays, all over social media, birthdays, stuff like that. So people love their kids. People try to make excuses for holidays, celebrate holidays and stuff like that. So if you love your kids more than the Most High or your mother, or your father, you're not worthy of him. So if you lose them, and let's say you lose your kids, right, or one of your kids, and you blaming God for it, but you don't know this truth yet. Or you saying, oh, how could God, you're carnal thinking, you're worldly thinking because you don't read the Bible, not knowing that the Most High does any and everything he wants. He kills and he makes alive. There's a reason for everything. Mm-hmm. So you saying that you don't want nothing to do with God now. Or Yahweh, yeah. So so you can't love your kids so much to where you blaming God for it because they got their life taken. You got to be able to forgive that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with it, but.
Let's wrap it up.
I do have to agree with that as well. But we can definitely revisit the topic of forgiveness. But I just wanted to say that 'cause it just been on my mind a lot lately, and as I get older and as I get closer to Yahweh, I do want to start with forgiveness. Start somewhere there to mend broken relationships. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it.
God. So, Israel, I gotta use the bathroom really bad. I've been holding it since the beginning of this podcast. I'm sorry.
Oh man, you cutting that out.
I'm sorry. I gotta get to the bathroom. But yeah, this has been the first episode of United by Yah with your hosts Yeshaya Yasharala
and Michaela Yasharala.
And we hope to see you in the next episode. Shalom.